Hi, I'm in my luxury suite at the Rio Hotel, and I've had a really good week here. And the convention's over, and I have enough convention experience to know that you should always book an extra day to decompress on the other end. Let everybody else check out in the madhouse that it was yesterday. And this morning, again, yesterday was Sunday, the last day of the thing. A lot of people left Sunday afternoon. And then all during the night, people were trying to check out because they knew this morning would be a zoo. I waited till the zoo ended after, late checkout plus 2 hours. So along about 2:30 in the afternoon, I took everything that we bought, everything, all the stuff I had signed. I mean, I don't know how much more weight we added to the luggage that we brought. But let's just say I walked down to and the convention center here at the Rio has a UPS, right? So again, I waited till everybody shipped all their stuff back this morning. And then I go down there, the guy's standing around, by this time. And it was $119, how much weight it was. $119 to go back to Detroit on my UPS bill. So, but all the, now I kept some of the valuable stuff here with me so I can go through it. And then also I kept the camera equipment, so I have this to do the tape on. And a lot of the camera equipment I bought for the trip, we never even tested. I mean, I've got a MacBook Pro over there. $2,300 MacBook Pro that I bought for the trip. I haven't even lit it up except the once to set it up. It's never been online ever. And I haven't turned it on since I put it back in its box right there. But it's a beautiful computer, and in the future it will help me. But I bought it for this trip so I could do all this kind of media and everything. I brought my guitar. This is the first time I've taken it out of the case. Monday morning, we fly back tomorrow. I've been here since Tuesday. I've been here since Tuesday of last week, and I haven't played the guitar once. So I'm tuning up now, and well, I thought it was going to be easy. I just had it restrung before I left, professionally, because it's a new guitar to me, and I've never strung it, and it's got a whole different bridge system than I'm used to in this back part of the guitar, and the strings are suspended differently too. So I wanted to see the guy do it, and which it turned out he didn't want me to watch him, but he did teach me and show me how he wound the strings and which direction that the key should turn properly. And boy, new strings takes them a while to get stretched into position, and then they only have a short life where they'll hang like that perfectly. And then you wang on them too much, you have to replace them. Usually the G string goes first for me. That's not just a joke, it's true. I bust my G string all the time. And but it's just so nice to have it professionally done at the Guitar Center. It's only 20 bucks, and the time it takes me to do it, I'm thinking I'm just going to do it that way all the time. I'm just going to have them tune it for me, restring it. I mean, I'll learn. Maybe I won't always do it, but since it's a new Epiphone and I'm not used to a semi-acoustic, and Lord knows I've thrashed my four Stratocasters that I've gone through since I started seriously getting into guitar, which wasn't until I was 40 years old. Oh well. But now, this afternoon, I've got my swimsuit on, my little skirted number with a 40s kind of top, all red. And this is a little beach cover that I bought at Target. And I'm going down to the Rio pool area as soon as my man Friday through Thursday, Anthony Armour, my man Tony, gets back from a dialysis session. He was proactive this morning. I was really proud of him. He had a little, he has to have dialysis every other day. And he's gotten off his schedule because of this trip. And then he's also, you know, been drinking more than he ever does at home or anything like that. So he's got some excess fluid on him this morning. And I heard him get up and talk the lady here in Las Vegas to give him an extra, he goes, hey, just give me 1 or 2 hours on the machine if you could possibly. And he was talking to her so sweetly, and I was really proud of him. And he talked her into treating him. And you know, you have to talk in these other dialysis places because they're not getting paid by you. They do exchanges so people can travel around the country. And DaVita is an awesome chain. I mean, they've changed the world as far as renal care goes. And the kidney dialysis that they provide for people is just amazing. People can stay for years on the machines. In fact, the average is a longer lifespan if you treat properly on the machines and watch your diet than it is for you to get a transplant. Now, of course, that includes people who got a transplant in emergency at the last minute and they weren't expected to live anyway. But still, the machines are really good now, and the system that DaVita works under it's really great. And we've had similar experiences in several cities now, you know, like Chicago, New York, California. And so I really was proud of him to get the DaVita lady to agree to give him an extra 3 hours. So that's where he is right now. When he gets back, we're going to go down to the pool area. I got some Keno tickets, these long-term, I bet a dime a game for 100 games. And you have to hit 7 numbers, which would be very rare. But I always win back more than I bet on these 100 bets, or at least close. I mean, it's a $10 bet total. But you play 100 games for a dime. But if you hit 7 numbers, even at a dime, it's still $1,400. So I'm hoping that the Rio will end up paying for my vacation by my 100 dimes thing I've been playing. I told the lady at the Keno, they all know me now because I walk by there and buy a ticket every night before, this week, every night before I go to bed, because I keep telling each Keno lady, I like to gamble while I sleep, you know. And anyway, I woke up the second morning and I had won $21 on one of the $10 bets and like 30 something on the other $10 bet. So I just keep rolling it over. So it's only an original one $10 bet, but now I've won enough money where I can play. They have a red and a gold game that run, you know, one after the other. And so I play red and gold games on this 100 dimes, it's called, where you bet 10 cents a game for 100 games, 7 numbers. Anyway, if I hit any of the 7 numbers, so I keep rolling it over, in other words. So it's only a $10 bet originally, but I've made like $50 in bets now, and I still have 2 $10 100 dimes going that'll run through tonight, and in the morning, just before we check out, I'll see if the Rio's paying for my trip or not. I love the Rio. It's not as glamorous as when we first came out here to film First Contact. It was really fabulous then. It was just off the Strip. They hadn't built the Palms yet, and so the Voodoo Lounge was like 50 stories up. They have this, I don't know if you can see out the window behind me, but they have a zip line that goes from a tower on top of this building over to the other Rio building, and it's 500 feet over the Las Vegas that you see when you go down. And they do it at night too. But anyway, you zip down this line, and then it takes you back up the line. It reels it back up. So it's got to be exciting and it took me a while to get used to seeing this thing go by every once in a while. It looks like a comet the first time you see it. I really enjoyed the trip. I got to talk to everybody. I'll do another segment later. When I'll talk about all the Star Trek things I met, people I met, fans that wanted to talk to me, who knew about me. Got to talk to all the big stars except for Patrick Stewart, which I didn't even have a moment with him really, because I don't want to try to get to him, you know, because he's so valued and protected, and it would be difficult, and I don't want to come off as a stalker. And I do that with everybody, but my luck or something, or just blessing from God, things worked out so incredibly. The synchronicity of this whole trip has just been a miracle for me. I had a moment with Jonathan Frakes that I paid like $90 to have a picture with him, and he recognized me and everything. And I'd already told him about, you know, my injury and how bad it was and everything, because he was apparently unaware of it, and they kind of the producers and the other people on the movie, and especially Matt Leonetti, had covered up how much damage I had really suffered on the movie to Jonathan, who was the director. And so I had already explained that to Jonathan in 2013 in Burbank at the convention there. I was part of it too. And so when I took the picture with him, it was just like, "You still okay?" all this stuff. You don't have but just like a moment when you do these pictures. It's like a dance step. You walk on a mark, you now move to the next mark, now take the picture, now go off. And that's it. And they have to do that. I mean, there's the 500 people that want, and they have to do it within so much time. And the stars can only absorb so many flashes without literally doing more eye damage to them than they want to. I think even LeVar was wearing contacts for that purpose, but I'm not sure. He took his sunglasses off at the last moment, and he suffered through them, and he put them right back on afterwards. So I noticed LeVar having to take care of his eyes, and I know a little bit about LeVar too. Yeah, it's good that he's taking care of himself. I love him so much. I was actually able to also tell LeVar. But anyway, let me finish by Jonathan. Jonathan and I, just by accident, like I said, synchronicity is awesome. I came around the corner in the hallway when he had finished taking the pictures. I had gone to the photo op room to see some of the pictures that I had already taken with other people. And as I came out of that, he had just finished the photo shoot that I had just done with him, and we came up and we were walking up the hallway side by side. We looked at each other, and he thought that I had somehow jumped in there next to him so I could talk to him again. And he looked over at me, and I just calmly looked up at him. I said, "I don't know what it is, but I wanted to have a moment with you, and this just happened. I didn't plan this." And he said, "Walk with me." And we walked down to the hallway where he was going back to sign pictures in the vendor's room. And we stopped at the end of the hallway. His assistant was watching him, and Jonathan waved the guy off. He goes, "You go on in, I'll be there in a minute." And then the guy came back out, because Jonathan and I talked for 20 minutes. And that's the time that the fans were online waiting for him. And I know how valuable that time is. And the fact that he not only insisted that I talk to him, because he wanted to talk to me too. He insisted on giving me that time too. He knew I deserved it. And I got to tell him, you know, about what had happened to me, why my wife left me, because I was ended up screaming in the middle of the night because of the severe tinnitus, which, you know, ironic that Captain Kirk, William Shatner, he has tinnitus from an injury that he suffered on Star Trek. And I have tinnitus from an injury I suffered on Star Trek. And also that the ultimate weapon in the Star Trek arsenal is the photon torpedo, and that's photonic energy, light energy, and that's what they injured me with, was photonic energy, ultraviolet light, a lighting array built by Matt Leonetti Lighting Company, and put on my face, and I got 30 years of ultraviolet damage, and it cooked my jawbone. And my jawbone's not real, it's replacement material made out of cadaver, bovine, and a slurry of this mixture that goes in there and kind of sets up like concrete, and you hope it grows into a bone-like shape. It's the shape of what your jawbone is, but mine isn't. It's all got a curve. It's so horrible. I got teeth missing. I have to wear a flipper, and I can't enunciate as well. So, but what I'm saying is, you know, God works in such awesome and mysterious and powerful ways. He made every connection I needed to make happen. And no matter how much I, spent out of my pocket, or long I've worried and how much I've suffered over this, it's like a healing salve, a balm from Gilead on my heart. And I just can't thank God enough. My life's been so amazing. I've had some tough things, and then I got to meet George Takei and explain to him I was National Secretary for United States Advocacy. When I took my picture with him, instead of centering us up, the photographer leaned over and put us off center, so George was right on the side of the picture, to get the brochure that I was holding off to the right in my hand. And what was it? HRC's, Human Rights Campaign's Transgender Visibility brochure, about how you should be transgender visibility and the power to be you. And I'm holding that up with George Takei giving me the Live Long and Prosper sign with his other hand. And then George asked me to give his assistant, this guy, he said, give so-and-so your information. I want to know how I can reach you. So later when I'm signing autograph, I paid $90 to have an autograph from George Takei. And they had so many people for George Takei and everybody else too, but for George there were so many that he had to stop personalizing at the time. They were totally out of time. They were running, and he still had like 500 signatures to do. So they came to us and said no personalizations at all. He's just going to sign his name, and he won't have time to talk to anyone. So when I got to him, he remembered me from the picture already earlier in the day, and he said, "Did you get my information?" And I said, "Yes, I gave it to your assistant." And he goes, "Oh, you mean Brad, my husband?" And I said, no, it was one of your other friends. He was a blonde, very cute, handsome blonde boy." And George was totally changed after that, because he had thought I had insulted or snubbed his husband by calling him an assistant. And then Brad said, "No, Debbie, we know who you are, and we got your information, and I'll give it to George." And Brad gave me such a smile that George looked at me, and George looked up at Brad smiling at me, and then he looked back and smiling at first, and then he gave me a little look like, "Don't you come on to my husband," sort of thing. Anyway, the whole moment just welled up in me, and a tear rolled down my face, and George was looking at it as the tear rolled down my face, and I said, "Thank you for changing the world, George." And I could tell it touched him, and I know he'll reach out to me now. So I don't care what people say. You got to follow your heart. You got to be who you are, and it may not always work out like you planned, but it'll work out. You got to go for it. Okay, I'll play a little song and then cut off, because this segment's too long. Nobody's going to watch it anyway, but I want to get things down, and that's what I'm doing. I don't know what I feel like playing like now. Don't tell me you don't know what love is when you're old enough to know better. When you find a strange hand in your sweater and your dream girl turns out to be a footnote. I'm a girl on a mission. You're 2 or 3 editions, and I'm giving you a long look. Every day, every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write. Chapter 1, you really didn't get the part. Chapter 2, I think I fell in love with you. Said you sang by me in the middle of Chapter 3, but you were up to your old tricks in Chapters 4, 5, and 6, and I'm giving you a long look. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write. The way you walk, the way you talk and try and kiss me, and laughing for 5 paradise. All your compliments and your cutting remarks are captured here in my quotation marks, and I'm giving you a long look. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write down. Every day I write a book. So don't tell me you don't know the difference between a lover and a fighter. With my fan and my electric typewriter. Even in a perfect world where everyone was equal, I would still own the film rights and be working on a sequel. And I'm giving you a long